Hi you guys, and welcome back to the Sex in the City series here on my YouTube channel, Cross-Dressing Janice 08, of course. Now, it's been a few days since I've done a last chapter, so be sure, if you have not seen chapters 1 through 10, be sure to go back on my YouTube channel and check out this video. Honestly, I'm not really going to give too much of a summary, only because if you've been following up, you should know exactly where we left off. But, we did leave off on chapter 10, which was talking about the downtown babes meet old Greenwich gals, and it was a very interesting chapter. We've so far met Charlotte and Samantha up to this point, so we're wondering where in the book it's going to meet up with what's her name, Miranda. And also, we of course know so far that Carrie has already spent the night with Mr. Big, so very interesting so far. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to continue tonight with Chapter 11, The Babes Flee Land of Wives for Night of Topless Fun. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. I know it's been a few days, but it's Thanksgiving and all that stuff. People's been busy, so haven't been able to keep up with the book. But I have my fabulous cup of coffee right here. Yum. And we are going to go ahead and continue with Chapter 11, you guys. So, enjoy. Bad things can happen to city women when they come back from visiting their newly married with children friends in the suburbs. The morning after Carrie, Miranda, Belle, and Sarah returned from a bridal shower in Greenwich, there were phone calls. Sarah had broken her ankle rollerblading at 4 in the morning. Miranda had had sex with a guy in a closet at a party, and they didn't use condoms. Carrie had done something so ridiculous she was sure her short relationship with Mr. Big was over. And no one could find Belle. The bold fellow. Miranda hadn't meant to go nuts at a party. To go into what she calls my Glenn Close imitation. I was going to go home and get a good night's sleep and wake up and work on Sunday. That was the great thing about not being married, not having kids, being alone. You could work on Sunday. But Sarah made her go to the party. There could be a good contact there, Sarah had said. Sarah, with her own PR company, was constantly on the lookout for contacts, which could also translate to dates. The party was on East 64th Street, some rich old guy's townhouse. Women in their 30s wearing black dresses and all with practically the same color blonde hair. The type of women always went to parties at rich old guys' houses, and they always brought their girlfriends. So there were squadrons of these women looking for men and pretending not to. Sarah disappeared into the throng. Miranda was left standing by the bar. She had dark, wavy hair, and she was wearing leggings with the boot part sewn in. So she struck out. 2 girls walked by her, and Miranda, maybe she is a little paranoid, swore that one of them said, "That's that girl, Miranda Hobbs. She's a total bitch." So Miranda said out loud, but so no one could hear, "That's right, I'm a real bitch, honey, but thank God I'm not like you." Then she remembered how, at the end of the long afternoon in the suburbs, the low-fat carrot cake with low-fat cream cheese frosting had been served with tiny sterling forks with tines so sharp they could break the skin. A man came up to her. Expensively tailored suit. Okay, he wasn't exactly a man because he was only about 35, but he was trying. She was making the bartender give her a double vodka tonic, and the man said, "Thirsty, eh?" "No, what I really want is a steak, okay?" "I will get you one," the man said, and it turned out he had a French accent. "I will let you know," she said, and tried to walk away. She didn't want to have anything to do with the party. She was tired of feeling like she didn't fit in, but she didn't want to go home either, because she was tired of being lonely and was a little drunk. "My name is Guy," he said. "I own a gallery on 79th Street. She sighed and said, "Of course you do. Perhaps you have heard of it." "Listen, Guy," she said. "Yes?" he asked eagerly. "Can you touch your asshole with your dick?" Guy smiled slyly. He moved closer, put his hand on her shoulder. "But of course." "Then I suggest you go fuck yourself." "Hey, come on," Guy said. and Miranda wondered if he was really that stupid, or if he just seemed stupid because he was French. He grabbed her hand and began pulling her up the stairs. She went along because she figured that any guy who could keep his cool after being insulted couldn't be that bad. They ended up in the rich old guy's bedroom, which had a red silk cover on the bed, and this guy character had some cocaine. And then, somehow, they ended up kissing. People kept coming in and out of the bedroom. For some reason, they went into the walk-in closet. Old pine paneling, racks for jackets and trousers, shelves for cashmere sweaters and shoes. Miranda checked the labels. Savile Row. Boring. Then she turned around, and Guy was standing right there. Then there was the groping. The leggings came down. Out popped the bold fellow. How big? Carrie asked her on the phone. Big and French, Miranda said. How could she? And then, afterward, he said, Hey, darling, you'd better not tell my girlfriend, as he stuck his tongue in her mouth one final time. It all came spilling out. The girlfriend who he'd lived with for 2 years, and they were engaged, sort of. But he really didn't know if he wanted to get married, but she was living with him, so what could he do? And then it was Glenn Close without the rabbit. The next day, Guy tracked down Miranda's number and called her, wanting to see her again. This is what we have to choose from, Miranda said. Newbert gets worried. At noon, Belle's husband, Newbert, called Carrie to see if she'd been seeing Belle. If she were dead, I'd know about it, Carrie said. A rollerblade in July. Then there was Sarah, who, according to Miranda, went rollerblading in her basement at 4 a.m. drunk. 38 years old, a grown woman clinging to a roll of debris. Is there anything less attractive? I don't think so, but what is Sarah supposed to do? She is 38 and she's not married, and she'd like to be with someone. And men, as we know from this column, we are attracted to youth. Even the women at the bridal shower, older than Sarah now, were younger than she is when they got married. It may not be an option for her anymore. So she rollerblades with a 25-year-old in her basement. Instead of having sex with him, he wants to. She is afraid he'll think her body's too old. Oh, hi, Sarah says, when Carrie calls her in the afternoon. She laid up on the couch in her tiny but perfect one-bedroom apartment in a high-rise just west of 2nd Avenue. Oh, I'm fine. Can you believe it? She sounds unnaturally cheerful. Just a little broken ankle and the cutest doctors in the emergency room. And Luke with me the whole time. Luke? Lucas, really? The cutest guy? My little friend? She's giggling. Horrifying sound. Where did you get the rollerblades? Oh, he came on them. To the party. Isn't that cute? The cast comes off in 6 weeks. In the meantime, Sarah will have to hobble around, running her PR business at best she can. She has no disability insurance. The business runs on a shoestring. Is this better or worse than being married and living in the suburbs? Better or worse? Who can tell? Belle at the Carolo. Belle calls from the Carolo. Mentions something about a wide receiver from the Miami Dolphins. At Fredericks mentions something about her husband, Newbert, and some spaghetti sauce. I make great spaghetti sauce, she says. I'm a great wife, Carrie agrees. Anyway, after she got home from the bridal shower, she and Newbert had a fight. Belle ran away, went to Fredericks' nightclub. The wide receiver was at Fredericks. He kept calling her that her husband didn't love her enough. He does. You don't understand, she said. I'd love you more, he said. She laughed, ran away again, booked herself at a suite in the Carolo. She says, cocktails are being served now. She says she thinks maybe Newbert is upset because he's just sent out his novel. She thinks maybe Newbert is upset because she doesn't want to have kids. Not until he sells his novel. When she gets pregnant, it will all be over. She better have a good time now. All roads lead to baby doll. After the bridal shower and checking in on the phone with her new boyfriend, Mr. Big, Carrie went to the brewery bar. Samantha Jones, the 40th movie producer, was there. Carrie's best friend, sometimes. Barkley, the 25-year-old up-and-coming artist and model chaser, had inserted himself at Samantha's table. "I'd love it if you stopped by my loft sometime," Barkley said, flipping his blonde hair out of his eyes. Samantha was smoking a Cuban cigar. She took a drag and blew the thick smoke in Barkley's face. "I'll bet you would. But what makes you think I'd like your little painting?" "Well, you don't have to like my paintings," Barkley said. "You could just like me." Samantha grinned evilly. "I don't bother with men under 45 or 35. They're not experienced enough for my taste." "Try me," Barkley said. "If not, I'll at least buy me a drink." "We're leaving," Samantha said. "We'll have to find a new hangout." They found one, the Baby Doll Lounge, strip joint in Tribeca. They couldn't shake Barkley, so they let him come along. It might be good to have a guy with them at a topless bar. Plus, he's had smokes. They smoked in the cab, and when they got out at the Baby Doll Lounge, Sam grabbed Carrie's arm. Sam almost never did stuff like that and said, "I really want to know about Mr. Big. I'm not sure if he's the right man for you." Carrie had to think about whether she wanted to answer or not, because it was always like this between her and Sam. Just when she was happy with the man, Sam would come along and insert these doubts, like driving a crowbar between two pieces of wood. She said, "I don't know. I think I'm crazy about him." Sam said, "But does he really know how great you are? How great I think you are?" Carrie thought, "Someday, Sam and I will sleep with the same man at once, but not tonight." The bartender, a woman, came over and said, "It's so nice to see a woman in here again," and began pouring them free drinks. That was always a problem. Then Barkley was trying to have a discussion about how he really wanted to be a director and how that was all the artists were doing anyway. So why shouldn't he just keep the boring artist part and start directing? Two girls were dancing on the stage. They looked like real women, and they didn't look so good. Small, saggy breasts and big bottoms. But now Barkley was screaming, "But I'm better than David Sal. I'm a fucking genius." "Oh yeah?" says who? Sam screamed back. "We're all fucking geniuses," Carrie said. Then she went to the bathroom. You had to walk through a tiny slot in between the two stages and then downstairs. The bathroom had a gray wooden door that wouldn't shut properly and broken tiles. She thought about Greenwich. Marriage, kids. "I'm not ready," she thought. She went upstairs and she took her clothes off and got up on the stage and started to dance. Samantha was staring at her, laughing. But by the time the bartender came over and politely told her to get down, Sam wasn't laughing anymore. The next morning, Mr. Big called at 8 a.m. He was going to play golf. He sounded tense. "When did you get home?" he asked. "What did you do?" "Not much," she said. "Went to brewery and then this other place, the Baby Doll Lounge." "Oh yeah? Do anything special there?" "Had too much to drink," she laughed. "Nothing else you want to tell me?" "No, not really," Carrie said in the little girl voice she used when she wanted to soothe him. "What about you?" "I got a phone call this morning," he said. "Someone said they saw you dancing topless at the Baby Doll Lounge." "Oh, really?" she said. "How did they know it was me?" "They knew." "Are you mad?" "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked. "Are you mad?" "I'm mad you didn't tell me. How can you have a relationship if you can't be honest?" "But how do I know I can trust you?" she asked. "Believe me," he said, "I'm the one person you can trust." And he hung up. Carrie took all their pictures from Jamaica, how happy they looked just discovering each other, and cut out the ones of Mr. Big smoking his cigar. She thought about what it was like sleeping with him, and she would sleep curled around his back. She wanted to take the pictures and glue them to a piece of construction paper and write, "Portrait of Mr. Big with his cigar," across the top. And then, "I miss you," with lots of kisses at the bottom. She stared at the pictures for a long time, and then she did nothing. Alright, you guys, that is the end of chapter 11. It's starting to get a little bit more spicy. Alright, so stay tuned. We're going to continue reading chapter 12 on the next video. So, holla back, you guys. Stay tuned.